Underestimation and bias often don't announce themselves loudly. They show up in small looks, quiet assumptions, and careless words that reveal what people really believe. In male-dominated spaces like auto shops, engineering floors, and technical fields, these attitudes can shape how someone is seen before they even touch a tool. A black female mechanic walking into that kind of environment is not just entering a workplace. She is stepping into a space where expectations about her ability may already be limited. People may assume she is less experienced, less capable, or simply out of place. Those assumptions are not based on her skills. They are built on stereotypes that have been repeated for years. When someone laughs at her before she even begins, that moment carries more than just humor. It reflects a deeper belief that she does not belong or cannot succeed. Bias like this creates an uneven starting point. While others are judged by their work, she is judged before she has the chance to prove anything. Every move she makes is watched more closely, not out of respect, but out of doubt. Even a simple task becomes a test. The pressure is different. It is not just about fixing an engine. It is about proving that the assumptions are wrong. This kind of environment can affect confidence if a person is not prepared for it. Hearing dismissive comments or facing constant skepticism can slowly wear someone down. It can make them question their own abilities, even when they are fully qualified. That is how bias works. It tries to plant doubt where confidence should be. But for many, it has the opposite effect. Instead of backing down, they use that doubt as fuel. They focus more, work harder, and let their skills speak in a way words cannot. The presence of a black woman in a role that people do not expect challenges the status quo. It forces others to confront their own assumptions. Every successful task becomes more than just a job done right. It becomes evidence that those old beliefs are flawed. The laughter, the jokes, the dismissive tone all lose their weight when real skill is put on display. What started as bias begins to break down under the pressure of reality. Still, the experience is not just about proving others wrong. It is about navigating a space that was not designed with you in mind. It requires resilience, focus, and a strong sense of self. Without that, it is easy to feel isolated or discouraged. Representation plays a big role here. When people see someone who looks like them succeeding in a space like this, it shifts what feels possible. It sends a message that ability is not limited by race or gender. It also slowly changes the culture of those spaces. The more people witness skill coming from unexpected places, the harder it becomes to hold on to outdated beliefs. Bias does not disappear overnight. It is challenged over time, through repeated moments where expectations are proven wrong. Each moment adds up. Each success chips away at the assumptions that created the bias in the first place. The mechanic who walks into that shop is not just doing her job. She is changing how people think, whether they admit it or not. The laughter at the beginning may seem small, but it represents a larger issue that exists in many fields. Addressing it requires more than just calling it out. It requires showing, through consistent performance, that those biases have no real foundation. Over time, the focus shifts. Instead of questioning whether she can do the job, people start paying attention to how well she does it. That shift does not erase the bias completely, but it weakens its hold. It opens the door for others to walk in without facing the same level of doubt. Confidence and skill often speak louder than assumptions, but only when given the chance to be seen. In environments where stereotypes are strong, confidence becomes more than just a personality trait. It becomes a necessary tool for survival. For a black female mechanic stepping into a male-dominated space, confidence is not just about believing in herself. It is about holding that belief steady even when others question it. Skill, on the other hand, is what turns that confidence into something undeniable. It is built through training, practice, and real experience. Together, confidence and skill create a presence that cannot easily be dismissed, even in a room full of doubt. When someone is judged based on stereotypes, their abilities are often overlooked. People may expect hesitation, mistakes, or failure before any work has even begun. That expectation can create a tense environment where every action feels like it is under a microscope. In that moment, Confidence helps maintain focus. It allows a person to move with purpose instead of second-guessing every step. It sends a message that they are not there by accident. They belong in that space, and they are ready to prove it. Skill reinforces that message in a way words cannot. Knowing how an engine works, understanding the problem, and applying the right solution requires knowledge that cannot be faked. When that knowledge is demonstrated clearly, it begins to shift the atmosphere. People who once doubted start to pay attention for a different reason. They are no longer waiting for failure. They are watching real ability in action. This shift does not happen instantly. At first, there may still be skepticism. Some may look for small errors to confirm their original beliefs. Others may stay silent, unsure of how to respond when their expectations are challenged. Confidence plays a role here as well. It helps maintain consistency. It keeps the focus on the work instead of the reactions of others. Over time, repeated displays of skill build a new perception. The same people who doubted begin to recognize competence. The focus moves from who she is to what she can do. Confidence also protects against internal doubt. In an environment where bias is present, it is easy to absorb negative attitudes. Repeated exposure to skepticism can make anyone question themselves. Strong confidence acts as a barrier against that. It keeps the individual grounded in their own understanding of their abilities. It reminds them that their skills were earned, not given. That sense of self-assurance makes it easier to push through difficult moments without losing direction. Skill continues to grow with each challenge. Every problem solved adds to experience. Every success strengthens both ability and belief. In technical fields, results matter. An engine either works or it does not. That clear outcome makes skill visible in a direct way. There is little room for argument when the job is done correctly. This is where stereotypes begin to lose their power. They rely on assumptions, not evidence. When evidence is consistently presented, those assumptions become harder to defend. The combination of confidence and skill also influences others who may be watching. It shows that success is possible even in spaces where it is not expected. It encourages others to step forward, to trust in their own abilities, and to pursue paths that may seem challenging. It also slowly changes how people define competence. Instead of associating skill with a specific group, they begin to recognize it as something that can come from anyone willing to learn and work. Confidence ensures that presence is felt, while skill ensures that presence is respected. Together, they create a shift in how individuals are perceived in environments shaped by bias. They turn moments of doubt into opportunities to demonstrate capability. They replace assumptions with real performance, showing that ability is not limited by stereotypes, but proven through consistent, focused effort. Turning doubt into motivation is not something that happens automatically. It is a choice, often made in moments where walking away would be easier. When someone is faced with skepticism, especially in a public setting, it can feel personal. The doubt is not just about the task at hand. It can feel like a judgment of identity, background, and capability all at once. In that moment, there are two clear paths. One is to internalize the doubt, to let it slow you down or push you out. The other is to take that same doubt and use it as fuel to push forward with more focus and determination. Choosing the second path requires a shift in mindset. It means seeing doubt not as a barrier, but as a challenge that can be answered through action. When the engineer laughs and throws out a dismissive remark, it creates a moment charged with tension. That moment can either break confidence or sharpen it. For someone determined to prove themselves, it becomes a trigger. It narrows attention. It turns the situation into something that must be handled, not avoided. The focus shifts from the people in the room to the task itself. The engine becomes more than a machine. It becomes an opportunity to respond without saying a word. Motivation built from doubt has a different kind of energy. It is not loud or dramatic. It is steady and controlled. It pushes a person to think clearly, to rely on their training, and to move with purpose. Instead of reacting emotionally to the insult, the response comes through precision and effort. Every step in the process becomes intentional. Diagnosing the problem, selecting the right tools, and applying the correct solution all take on added meaning. It is not just about getting the job done. It is about doing it in a way that leaves no room for question. This kind of motivation can be powerful because it is rooted in something real. It comes from an experience that demands a response. Unlike external rewards or praise, it does not depend on recognition from others. It is driven by a need to meet the moment and rise above it. That makes it more sustainable in difficult situations. Even when the environment is not supportive, the motivation remains. It becomes internal, guided by personal standards rather than outside approval. There is also a level of discipline involved. Turning doubt into motivation does not mean rushing or trying to prove something through speed. It requires patience. It means staying focused even when the pressure is high. It means trusting the process and not letting frustration lead to mistakes. In technical work, accuracy matters more than anything. A single error can reinforce the very doubts being challenged. That is why control is so important. The response to doubt must be measured, not reactive. Over time, this approach builds resilience. Each experience of overcoming doubt strengthens the ability to handle the next one. It creates a pattern where challenges are expected and managed rather than feared. The individual becomes more confident in their ability to navigate difficult situations. They learn to separate their sense of self from the opinions of others. This makes it easier to stay grounded, even in environments where bias is still present. The impact of this mindset extends beyond the individual moment. When others witness someone turning doubt into success, it changes how they perceive similar situations in the future. It sets a new example of how to respond to skepticism. It shows that doubt does not have to define the outcome. It can be redirected into something productive. This shift is subtle but important. It encourages a different way of thinking, both for those who experience doubt and for those who express it. The energy that once went into questioning someone's ability is replaced by recognition of their performance. What started as a dismissive comment becomes the very thing that drives a focused and determined response, transforming a negative moment into a demonstration of capability through consistent effort and controlled execution. Breaking barriers for Black women in trades is not a single moment. It is a process that unfolds over time, shaped by persistence, visibility, and consistent performance. Trades like mechanics, construction, and engineering have long been seen as spaces dominated by men. Within those spaces, the presence of Black women has been even more limited, not because of lack of ability, but because of limited access, discouragement, and long-standing stereotypes. When a Black woman steps into that environment and chooses to stay, she is doing more than learning a skill or earning a living. Every day in that space becomes part of a larger shift. Barriers in these fields are often both visible and invisible. Some are clear, like fewer opportunities, lack of mentorship, or unequal treatment. Others are subtle, like lowered expectations, dismissive attitudes, or the constant need to prove competence. These challenges can make the environment feel unwelcoming. They can also make success feel harder to reach, not because the work itself is beyond reach, but because the path is filled with extra resistance. Breaking these barriers requires more than just technical ability. It requires persistence, emotional strength, and the willingness to keep showing up even when the environment is not supportive. Each time a Black woman demonstrates skill in a trade, it creates a small but meaningful shift. It challenges the idea that certain roles belong to certain groups. It forces others to reconsider what they thought they knew about who can succeed in that space. These moments may seem individual, but they add up over time. One person's success becomes a reference point for others. It makes it easier for the next person to enter, to be taken seriously, and to find opportunities that may not have been available before. Representation plays a critical role in this process. When people see someone who looks like them working confidently in a trade, it changes what feels possible. It removes some of the uncertainty that comes with stepping into an unfamiliar space. It also helps build a sense of belonging. Instead of feeling like an outsider, the individual can begin to see themselves as part of a growing presence within that field. This shift is important not only for those entering the trade, but also for those already within it. It gradually changes the culture. It introduces new perspectives and challenges outdated norms that may have gone unquestioned for years. Breaking barriers also involves navigating moments of resistance. Not everyone accepts change easily. Some may hold on to old beliefs, even when faced with clear evidence that those beliefs are outdated. This can show up in subtle ways, like reluctance to offer support, or in more direct forms, like dismissive comments or exclusion from opportunities. Facing this resistance requires focus. It means continuing to perform at a high level without being distracted by negativity. It also means recognizing that change does not happen overnight. Progress can be slow, but it is still progress. The impact of breaking barriers extends beyond the workplace. It influences how trades are viewed in the broader community. It challenges young people to think differently about their career options. It opens doors that may have seemed closed. It also contributes to a more diverse and inclusive workforce, which benefits the industry as a whole. Different perspectives lead to new ideas, better problem solving, and a stronger sense of collaboration. The presence of Black women in trades is not just about filling a role. It is about expanding what that role can look like. It is about creating space where there was little before. It is about showing that skill, dedication, and professionalism are not limited by race or gender. Each step forward adds to a growing foundation that supports future generations. What begins as one person's determination becomes part of a larger movement that continues to reshape the industry through consistent effort and visible success. Proving worth through action, not words, becomes essential in environments where doubt is already present. In spaces shaped by bias, explanations and promises often carry less weight than results. People may listen, but they are not fully convinced until they see something real. For a Black female mechanic stepping into that kind of setting, this reality changes how credibility is built. It is not about arguing against stereotypes or trying to correct every assumption through conversation. It is about letting the work speak clearly enough that those assumptions begin to fall apart on their own. Action creates evidence. It shows what someone can do without relying on perception or opinion. When an engine is repaired correctly, the result is immediate and visible. The machine either runs or it does not. There is no room for interpretation in that outcome. This makes technical skill one of the strongest ways to establish respect. Instead of trying to convince others of competence, the individual demonstrates it step by step. Each correct diagnosis, each precise adjustment, and each successful repair adds to a growing body of proof. Over time, this proof becomes difficult to ignore, even for those who were initially dismissive. Words can be challenged, dismissed, or misunderstood. Action is harder to dispute. When someone consistently delivers results, it shifts the focus away from who they are and toward what they accomplish. This shift is important in environments where identity has been used as a reason to doubt ability. By keeping the focus on performance, the individual changes the terms of how they are evaluated. Instead of being seen through the lens of stereotypes, they are seen through the lens of their work. This does not mean that words have no value, but in situations where bias is strong, they are often not enough on their own. Action provides a level of clarity that words cannot match. There is also a level of discipline involved in this approach. It requires patience and consistency. Proving worth through action does not happen in a single moment. It is built over time through repeated performance. One success may challenge expectations, but consistent success begins to change them. This means showing up prepared, staying focused, and maintaining a high standard even when the pressure is high. It also means accepting that recognition may not come immediately. In some cases, people may take time to adjust their views, even when the evidence is clear. Staying committed to the work despite that delay is part of the process. This approach also reduces the need for constant validation. Instead of seeking approval through conversation or reassurance, the individual relies on their own standards. The work becomes the measure of success. This creates a sense of independence. It allows the individual to stay grounded, even in environments where support may be limited. Confidence grows not from what others say, but from what has been consistently achieved. This internal sense of worth becomes more stable and less influenced by outside opinions. Over time, action begins to reshape the environment itself. When others see consistent performance, their expectations start to change. They begin to rely on the individual's skills, not question them. Tasks that were once given with hesitation are now assigned with trust. Conversations shift as well. Instead of focusing on whether the individual can handle the work, the focus moves to how the work will be done. This change may seem gradual, but it reflects a deeper transformation in how competence is recognized. Proving worth through action also sets an example for others. It shows that results can challenge bias in a direct and effective way. It encourages a focus on skill development and consistent performance as a path to recognition. It also demonstrates that respect can be earned through dedication and precision, even in environments where it is not freely given. This approach does not rely on changing minds through argument. It relies on changing perceptions through visible, undeniable results that speak for themselves and continue to build a reputation grounded in consistent achievement. Redefining respect and challenging assumptions begins with changing what people pay attention to. In many environments shaped by bias, respect is often given based on familiarity, appearance, or long-held beliefs rather than actual ability. This creates a system where some individuals are trusted immediately, while others are required to prove themselves repeatedly. For a black female mechanic working in a male-dominated space, this imbalance is clear from the start. Respect is not automatically offered. It has to be earned in ways that others may never have to consider. Challenging this dynamic requires a shift in how value is demonstrated and recognized. Instead of accepting limited expectations, the individual introduces a new standard based on performance, consistency, and professionalism. Each interaction becomes an opportunity to reshape how respect is defined within that space. Assumptions often operate quietly. They influence how people speak, how they assign tasks, and how they interpret mistakes or success. When someone is expected to struggle, even small errors may be seen as confirmation of that belief. At the same time, success may be downplayed or treated as an exception. Redefining respect means disrupting that pattern. It means showing that competence is not unusual or surprising, but expected and repeatable. This is done through consistent performance that leaves little room for doubt. Over time, repeated success forces a reevaluation of those initial assumptions. People begin to notice a pattern that does not match their expectations, and that creates pressure to adjust their thinking. Respect starts to shift from something based on assumption to something based on evidence. Professionalism plays a key role in this process. It is reflected in how work is approached, how challenges are handled, and how interactions are managed. Staying composed in the face of doubt or dismissive behavior sends a strong message. It shows control and confidence without needing to respond to every negative comment. This approach changes the tone of the environment. Instead of engaging in conflict, the individual maintains focus on the work, allowing results to speak clearly. This does not mean ignoring bias, but it means choosing when and how to respond in a way that reinforces credibility rather than distracting from it. Challenging assumptions also involves consistency in behavior and performance. Respect is not built on a single moment. It develops through repeated experiences where expectations are met or exceeded. Each successful task, each clear decision, and each professional interaction adds to a growing sense of reliability. Others begin to adjust their behavior in response. They may become more willing to listen, to collaborate, and to trust the individual's judgment. This shift may be gradual, but it reflects a deeper change in how respect is earned and given. It moves away from automatic trust based on identity and toward earned trust based on proven ability. This transformation also affects how others in similar positions are treated. When one person challenges assumptions successfully, it can create space for others to be seen differently. It weakens the hold of stereotypes by providing real examples that contradict them. Over time, this can influence hiring decisions, team dynamics, and overall workplace culture. Respect becomes less about fitting a certain image and more about meeting a certain standard of performance. This change benefits not only individuals who were previously underestimated, but the environment as a whole. It creates a more balanced and fair system where ability is recognized more accurately. Redefining respect is not about demanding it through words alone. It is about building it through actions that consistently demonstrate capability and reliability. It is about showing that assumptions do not define outcomes. As those assumptions are challenged again and again, they begin to lose their influence. What replaces them is a clearer understanding of what respect should be based on, shaped by real performance and steady professionalism rather than outdated beliefs and untested expectations.